They're not paying it, so we keep them from shooting through.
I was gonna do mine because we started to do like sign up for public comment, but I don't think unless we have somebody who's interested in public comment.
To us.
We're lonely.
We're lonely. We walk.
But we still have 2 minutes, so like you can chatter.
The Home and Holiday Show.
What?
The Home and Holiday Show.
No, it's always so packed. And I just,
I heard it was pretty full. Did you go?
I did. Yeah.
I don't like to, and there's that many people. I don't know why, because you can't, to me, shop.
We were actually down. My daughter had a horse deal,
Oh,
and so we just walked over during the.
but didn't you think it's just too?
It is tight, yeah. And my wife had me go down to that craft fair down at the depot, and it was packed too.
And people always ask me about parking or something. Really?
Nature of the beast.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you please rise and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Matt, may we please have roll call?
Councilor Demas,
Here.
Zadi,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Hickerson,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Malonis,
Here.
Bingham,
Here.
Pedri,
Here.
Mayor Mickelson.
Here. Okay, first up, we have the consent agenda. We have the city council meeting minutes of November 4th, 2025. Oh, good Lord. I beg your pardon. I skipped right over that. So with my apologies, we will begin with the council updates. And I believe I started last week with Councilman Thompson, so we'll start this week with Councilman Malonis.
Let's see, I had a pretty busy couple weeks. One thing I did is I went to a election integrity meeting with Rick Weibel, very, very intelligent man. He went over some of the issues with the voting machines and some of those things. And then we practiced a little hand counting. That was really interesting also. And then I had a chance, I went through Kilpecker Creek. I started at Springs Drive Bridge, walked the whole creek as far as I could, taking before and after. I had some before pictures already. And then I walked from the bottom at the confluence up and took some more pictures. So after I looked at it, it didn't seem like there was much difference. So I still believe that was a waste of money. Also, I went to a Catholic church preserving our sacred St. Cyril and Methodius Catholic Church. A little presentation. That's a very interesting situation going on. That nice, beautiful church, we might be losing it. So a lady by the name of Mary Hamilton has put together a Facebook group if anybody's interested in trying to save the church. One thing I did do is anytime we're working with these old buildings, we hear up to code, right? So I've been looking at trying to create a special district in downtown where we may be able to relax some of these building codes. So I've been doing some research on that. Also, I went up to 506 A Street where we're going to be talking about that this evening. That was an interesting property. And also, I talked to a constituent about a bunch of parked cars down on Sunset across from McDonald's. And so we take some pictures and see how long they sit there. Okay, that's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Bingham.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the highlight of my couple of weeks, so it's definitely been a busy couple of weeks. I was invited by the Silver Sneakers down at the Civic Center to go down and work out with them and go to the class, and I did, Your Honor. I did. I went down there on Monday, 9 o'clock, and the class was very large. 46 people were actually attending that, and they put me in the corner in the back. I don't know what that means, but it was great. I got a chance to get up and talk a little bit about the fees, and if they had concerns, please feel free to reach out. We have that coming up in our first week of December, are the rec fees. So great time. Really enjoyed my time with them. One thing I think it's great to see that many people working out at any age, and so really appreciate that and them inviting me down there. I attended a URA meeting on November 10th, and the big thing is, everyone's received an invitation, but just for the public, Christmas in the Park returns, and so please go and I didn't get a chance last year, but this year I definitely plan on attending, and especially the lighting ceremony on November 29th. There's over 100,000 lights. So they really, with all those volunteer hours that are done and the city staff, rec department, just appreciate everything they have done. We also discussed the Broadway Theater, some upcoming events and such. The other thing for the council to know and the public, the chairlift has been kind of an issue down at the Broadway Theater, and the total cost, they received an additional $18,000 grant from the Wyoming Cultural Trust Fund, in addition to the $10,000 Union Pacific Foundation grant. So it's $28,000 they were able to acquire through the grant process for that chairlift. So really appreciate their hard work in getting that. And then the remaining money will come out of their budget. And then also reviewed city contracts with the county. Quite a few contracts that we have between the county and city as far as services and such, went over those. And then that's all I have, Mr. Your Honor. I almost said Mr. Chairman.
Right?
It gets mixed up between
Yeah.
commissioners and here. So anyway,
Absolutely no
thank
worries.
you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilor Pedri, if you would please.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to give everyone an update. I'm going to change up the scope of my focus outside of the typical roles of meetings and contact with constituents, and focus on the Rock Springs High School students. The J Foundation, they gave an update at the chamber lunch, and there's 300 seniors this year, and there you have a committee that's working very diligently to implement the J Foundation and raise enough money to buy all of them a pair of boots for the boot check-in. And to date, they've raised just about $22,000, which is, not it's a significant amount of money, but they could use any donations and any help that we can possibly give them. So they're working hard. They've done it all on their own. And the other group I would like to recognize are the high school student council. 28 members just attended the WASC conference, which is the Wyoming Association for Student Council. And they were able to work with other students from around the state and see how they're working their internal operations. So that was a good knowledge share for them. And Berkeley Gardner was elected as the president, which is a local student here at Rock Springs High School. And last but not least, the Home and Holiday Show over the weekend was very crowded. A lot of people out getting ready for the holidays. Saw a lot of people that I don't typically see, but the best part of it, everybody was shopping locally, supporting one another, and that was pretty consistent throughout the whole show. And the craft fair down at the depot was also the same as far as attendance goes.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Councilor Demas?
Okay, what I did in the past 2 weeks, I attended the Rock Star Awards put on by the Rock Springs Chamber. I had a tripartite board meeting, which
Wait, ma'am, I'm going to interrupt you there. You didn't just attend.
You forgot something.
Mhm. Would you like to tell us about what recognition you received?
And I did receive an award that night. I received the Volunteer Person of the Year. So. Embarrassing. Okay, then I did the tripartite board meeting, which I am the liaison for. And for the people that don't know what the tripartite is, we do grant money for different entities in the community, which we give to Sweetwater Family Resource, WYCA, and Young at Heart Senior Center. So we give grant money to those three entities. I helped judge the flag contest for the flag for the city of Rock Springs. I did the chamber luncheon, which had J Foundation there, which Devin Brubaker donated tickets from Rock Springs to Denver, and they were auctioned off. And then Devin Brubaker spoke. And then I did the mobile food pantry, which we hand out food to different members, and we ran out of food and had to turn a lot of people away. And that's all I've done.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zadi?
I had just kind of a boring couple weeks. I did go to the Chamber Rockstar Awards, and congratulations to Jeannie and all the others that were nominated and received awards. It's a great event that recognizes various businesses through our community based off service, community service, community involvement, and just a list of things to be proud of as a business owner in the city. And it's a really good community event to let those businesses know that we do care about them and we do recognize their efforts. Did have a few calls, constituents over traffic issues and some ordinance review and that I had done over the last couple weeks. And again, wanted to congratulate Berkeley Gardner too, as Dan had mentioned, for her election as president for state and city council. And that's kind of it. So.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Councilor Hanson?
Thank you, sir. Recently, I've done a couple presentations. One of the presentations I went to was Corey Lee did an excellent presentation for the Veterans Day at the museum. She did a presentation of all the people that are buried up in our cemetery and a lot of the history of some of the people that were there. It was part of her walking tours, only I didn't have to walk. It was indoors. It was an excellent presentation. She did a good job with that. I've also had an opportunity to see Steve Shea's presentation of coal mines and so the coal mines and in Rock Springs and how they were coming along and working with them. I believe that's a part one. He's trying to do a 3-part documentary that is that he's putting together on Rock Springs, and that was really good. It was about an hour long, and he did a good job. I believe he did another presentation at the Broadway also just recently with that, but if you ever get a chance to see that.
along with presentations. I believe the PBS program, Far and Below, the local Trona mines, the big presentation that they did over at the Broadway. I believe they're doing the PBS presentation on that Saturday, November 29th at 7:30, so that's a good thing to watch for. I've attended several meetings, one with the local historic museum board meeting. One was the Young at Heart Community Center board meeting and also their finance committee meetings. So I've been working with them on that. I dealt with, actually I had quite a few constituents, a lot of citizens contacting me on a bunch of different topics, whether it's water rates or the recreation fees, a bond schedule for the courts, parking issues and complaints. And I've even been contacted concerning a positive thing, the Kindness Rock Garden. Apparently it's maintained by the Eastside Elementary students. They paint rocks with messages of hope and enlightenment. They have a rock garden, I guess, over in the Lincoln Elementary School, which seems really cool. I know that Councilor Bingham also got contacted on that stuff. But lastly, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week. Be positive and thankful for the blessings we have, and be safe out there.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Hickerson.
Much like Councilman Zadi, I was pretty mellow this last 2 weeks. I did meet with a couple of the county commissioners over priorities between the city and the county, what we could work on together, including the semi-quincentennial happening next July. I did answer a couple of calls about what the rental rates for the court rentals at the rec center would be, and just a couple other miscellaneous constituent calls. Pretty
Very
mellow.
good. Thank you, sir. Councilor Thompson.
Thanks, sir. I also attended the Chamber Rockstar Awards. Congratulations again to Jeannie. And our own former mayor, Carl Demshar, got the Rock Legend Award for everything he's done for this community, going back to the 70s when he was a Little League coach to everything he did while he was the mayor. On the 8th, attended the 250th Marine Corps Ball. That was fun. My wife would not let me do what's called a carrier landing. If you want to know, look that up. It would have been embarrassing because I was wearing a kilt. Also on the 12th, I was on the committee with Jeannie and several local citizens to review submissions for the city flag competition. There was quite a few, I'd say at least 50. A lot of great artwork, and hopefully as a committee it worked really well. There was a fairly eclectic group that went through this, and I think the mayor was a little concerned there may be some issues, but it went smoothly and kind of came up within an hour, and no disagreements, and kind of hopefully we picked a simple design that everybody can get behind. Also attended the chamber lunch on the 13th. Devin Brubaker gave an excellent update on everything going on with the airport. And for the airline tickets that the airline gave to be auctioned off, was the owners of the Santa Fe that bid on those?
Yeah, he bid on them, but he didn't win. It was the other gentleman. I don't know his name.
Yeah,
$750.
Yeah, $750, and they donated that straight back to the J Foundation. So, because at that time, I think they had said their donations, that the money that they had raised was $18,000, and you said they were up to like 22.
22. They received a $5,000 donation out of Pinedale.
So they're moving right along. I was able on the 14th to attend the Rock Springs Fire Rescue Awards banquet. It was really nice. With a lot of the families, the firemen were there, the Class A's, recognized a lot of the new firemen that had completed their year, get their helmet, and a few promotions. And a lot of those firemen, I've been retired for 6 years, left the city 9 years ago, and there was only about 4 of the guys that I remember that I recognize that I work with, so it's a very young crowd. And Thursday, I am planning on going to Cheyenne with Battalion Chief Paulson to attend their fire graduation. It'll be a long day trip, but they're having the ceremony at the Capitol building, so that will be great. Something I've never got to do, and hopefully the police chief will invite me up to the next police graduation up in Douglas. That's all.
Very good. Thank you, sir. So since our last council meeting, I was able to do one of the things that I like to do best in this position, which is speak to high school students. I was invited in to speak to 2 different American government classes, and we went over the city's budget and how would they solve the budget issues and how would they allocate resources. And they all seemed like really nice kids, except for the one who didn't want to put any money into administration and finance. After I told him that's my favorite department because it keeps me from going to jail. And he thought it was pretty funny. He's like, I'm gonna send you to jail. And I was like, well, dude, I just met you, man. But their teacher is Jennifer Wilmetti, and she had them fill out forms explaining their choices, and then she scanned them in, and some of the students have included their emails so I can go through and then provide feedback to them about the choices that they made. And I did tell them that I am not above cribbing from a high school kid, so if they've come up with a brilliant solution, I'll be sending it out to council, and I'll attribute the credit. I'll be like, hey, Bob at the high school came up with this. And then I was also able to speak with 2 CTE, so career and technical education classes. And those kids were really engaged and really excited. So structurally, the way the high school is set up, the academy students are required to do quite a significant number of volunteer hours, and then they also get to do job shadowing. The CTE students are not able to do that, and most of those kids have to work to help support their families. So it excludes them from being able to participate in the academy. And in discussion with them, I was like, well, hey, here's the good news. Y'all don't have school on Friday. You've got Thanksgiving break, Christmas break. If you want a job shadow, the city would be more than happy for you to come and do that. And they were very, very excited to have that opportunity. 2 of the county commissioners and 2 of our council members met, as Councilor Hickerson said. We wanted to figure out if there are some 2 or 3 key areas that the county and the city can focus on together to sort of maximize the use of resources to address some issues within the county. And then, again, 2 of commissioners and 2 of our city councilmen and I met with them to review all of the agreements that we have with the county. And there's a slew of them. And then there are a few where we're going to propose some changes because we don't know that they're functioning in the way that we had hoped when they were originally contemplated. We had a Wyoming Association of Municipalities Legislative Leadership Committee meeting where we went over a lot of the bills that are being worked through in committees. And then that information is sent out to, I represent Region 6, to all of the communities in our region so that everybody's informed of the work that's happening in the legislature and they can provide their feedback. I saw Jeannie at the mobile food pantry, which is always, it's the 3rd Saturday of every month. You get there about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and you can fill the boxes. There's no sort of filtering process. You just show up and you get a box of food, or if you have a large family, more than one, no questions asked. And with the pause and reduction in SNAP benefits, people were really struggling, and it was, sadly, there were a ton of people there to receive food. Happily, there were a ton of people there to help. And it is really one of the best things that you can do in this community, is to take that time. Obviously, I met with quite a few constituents, and we had really good conversations about the issues that they're facing and how we can help them. The Chamber of Commerce luncheon was wonderful. The Chamber of Commerce Rockstar Awards was really fun. My wife and oldest daughter were out of town at a hockey tournament. So instead of my wife being my co-presenter, my 10-year-old was. And she was definitely the loudest presenter of the evening. and really had a great time. And that is such a wonderful way for our community to recognize the businesses who give back and make this a better place to live. Coming up this Saturday is the International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day. It starts at 11 a.m. And certainly living in our community, many of us have been touched by loss through suicide. And I would certainly encourage people to go. It's a really supportive, wonderful environment with a very amazing speaker who's sitting in the audience, April Thompson. And I've heard her speak before on this issue, and it's well worth your time. And then I have two things before I finish. I got to surprise the young man who designed the winning flag selection today. We went to the high school and walked into his classroom, and it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of funny because, he was talking about, well, I just this and that. And in talking to him further, though, he spent quite a bit of time learning about flag design, what are good principles, what it should look like, and that certainly paid off for him in the selection. And then finally, you may notice there's new signage up above our logo. That was done by Sweetwater Custom Works, and that is something I think everybody can agree that these are particularly trying times. People are very stressed. People are struggling. And so I purchased that out of pocket and donated it to the city because I thought that would be a good reminder for all of us that while we struggle and wrestle with budgets and hear audit presentations, that there is certainly a higher power that we can rely on to help guide us through these things. So with that, that concludes my council update. And now it takes us to the consent agenda. First up, we have the City Council meeting minutes of November 4th, 2025. We have the Health Insurance Fund recap for October 2025, the Financial Report Summary for September 2025, the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board meeting minutes of October 6th, 2025, the Main Street Board meeting minutes of October 13th, 2025, and I'm going to skip. We've got the Bridger Coal Company 2026 blasting schedule. And then this was mentioned last week, but I wanted to include in correspondence the letter from the constituent who so appreciated Clint Zambai, our water operations superintendent, for taking his time to make somebody's bad day significantly better. And it has been my experience that is largely what our city employees do, right? Not just the work that they are charged with, but whatever it takes to make their citizens' lives better. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Zadi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demas. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, that brings us to bid openings for the Miscellaneous Utility Project Phase 1B. We have one bid from Aspen Construction here in Rock Springs. They even have a sticky note that's tabbed bid total, which makes my heart very happy. So the total bid amount is $2,674,764.17. $2,674,764.17. And there is a bid bond. So we will pass that along to staff and they can give us a recommendation. Which now brings us to the moment we've all been waiting for, the City of Rock Springs Audit Final Draft Presentation.
Pins and needles, I'm sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Mickelson. Counselors, I'm excited to be here tonight to present the final draft of the fiscal year 2025 city audit report. Quick note, because normally I am here presenting the final audit report. Unfortunately, there's been a delay in our world, and the OMB has not yet issued the final compliance supplement. And so the compliance supplement is what gives us as auditors guidance on all compliance audits, and it's actually what tells us what we have to audit. So they have issued a draft of that, and unfortunately in the federal shutdown, they were not deemed an activity that needed to continue. So we are hoping that we will receive that final report, but until that is issued, we are actually precluded from finalizing any compliance audit reports. So that is the only thing we are waiting on. We have performed all of our audit work based on that draft report that's available. I just wanted to address why we're presenting a final draft tonight instead of the final audit report. So nothing of concern here, no audit work that hasn't been done or been held up in any way outside of the federal government, which unfortunately is probably something you're familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this audit report tonight. We're going to start with the big bound document, the financial and compliance report, and then we'll address those stapled documents as well. I'm going to highlight some things that I think are important for you all to be aware of, but please stop me, ask me any questions. We can do questions at the end. You can wave if you want me to talk faster so you can move on with your night. Any of the above is completely okay. So we're going to start on pages 1 to 3, which is our first audit report. And our independent auditor's report, this one will cover the financial statements and the notes to the financial statements. Happy to report that we will be issuing an unmodified or clean audit opinion. After that, on pages 4 to 12, is what's referred to as management's discussion and analysis. This is a required addition to the audit report to provide you operational highlights and comparative information. The city's audited financials are only single year, so if you want any comparative information, this is a really great place to go. The financial statements themselves then begin on page 13, and 13 is the statement of net position. So that's really the equivalent of your balance sheet if we're thinking more for-profit financial statements. Governmental accounting statements are a little bit odd. We have a couple different bases of accounting that we work on. So these first set of financial statements are what's called the full accrual basis. So that means that's going to include both short and long term. So all your capital assets, all your long-term debt, really everything is in this first set of financial statements. You'll see two different columns there. Your governmental activities, that's covering your general fund, as well as that capital projects fund, which was created to record all of those assets that are being built with the funding from the special purpose tax that didn't go into the water or sewer fund. And then the business type activities fund is your water, your sewer, and your housing funds. So a couple of things to note here as I compared it to the prior year. Not surprisingly, big increase seen in capital assets, obviously, as you're working on completing those projects that are being funded by that specific purpose tax. In addition, we are seeing a slight decrease in total liabilities, about $2.7, and that's primarily related to a decrease in that net pension obligation. And we'll, of course, talk about that like we do every year in the footnotes as a reminder what that relates to. Overall equity of the city increased $12.9 million. On page 14, you'll find the statement of activities, your equivalent of an income statement. Once again, we're on the full accrual basis of accounting here. A couple of notes for your interest. I think the most, we'll call it extraordinary item, because that's what it's titled down there at the bottom, was the impairment loss of just over $3 million. And of course, that related to when the city decided they would no longer continue construction on the abandoned building that had been purchased, was being renovated, and instead has determined to sell it instead of complete that project. So accounting standards required at that decision point that the amount of the building be written down to the fair market value from the appraisal as opposed to the carrying amount. So that $3 million represents that loss there on the records. Other things to note, supplemental government funding was up about $10.2 million, once again related to that special purpose tax that's coming in. General sales and use tax was down about 10% or about $2.3 million. Overall, the city saw in total a change in net position of about $12.8 million, which is very consistent with the prior year. It was at $13 million in the prior year. Starting on page 15 is your second set of financial statements. I said government world's a little bit weird. So this is on the modified accrual basis. And so this is just a short-term focus. So no long-term assets, no fixed assets, no long-term debt here. So I don't spend a ton of time on these statements themselves. I always think it's important to look at the full picture ones. But these are, of course, a requirement and included in there. I'm going to go ahead and hop now, clear over to the notes to the financial statements, beginning on page 23. The first one is your summary of significant accounting policies on pages 23 to 28. There was a new Governmental Accounting Standards Board statement issued and effective for fiscal year 2025. So this one had to do with compensated absences. So Matt and Alex and team were required to look more in depth with the different leave types offered by the city and potentially look at changing that accrual. Luckily for the city, no significant changes to the accrual amount required by adopting that new standard. However, it did change the current long-term allocation of that liability on your statement of net position. Starting on page 29, note 2, cash and investments, providing a lot more detail regarding the city's cash and investment portfolio. The city continues to show a large investment in the Y class. That represents 45% of the city's total cash and investments, 41% in the prior year. During our audit, we are required to make sure that all cash and investment accounts held by the city are properly collateralized as required by state statute. Happy to report that all accounts were properly collateralized as required. I'm going to go ahead and hop forward to page 37, which is note 6, retirement commitments. This I had mentioned briefly earlier regarding the net pension liability. You may remember many years ago now, about 12 years ago now, a GASB standard required that anyone participating in a defined benefit plan, such as the city participating in Wyoming retirement systems, needed to record their allocation of that funding liability. So how that's determined, number one, the city participates in 4 plans: public employees, firemen's A and B, and law enforcement. And so Wyoming Retirement Systems hires an actuary every year. They go through and they determine, based on their assumptions, what the future liability of all those payments will be to fully fund the retirements as earned by employees of all participating governmental agencies throughout the state. And then they compare that to the amount of money held in trust. So every month, the city, or every pay period, the city remits their contributions, and that's held in trust by Wyoming Retirement Systems. The future liability outweighs the assets that are held in trust, therefore net pension liability. And so that is allocated to all participating entities based on your percentage of contributions compared to the plan's total contributions. In total, the net pension liability reported by the city is about just under $12 million. It was $14.1 million last year. So that tells you good investments at that point in time. Also discussed in that note on page 38, back in fiscal year 2022, it was determined that the Fireman's Pension Plan A was actuarially underfunded, and so the city and all other participating entities had to pay into that plan. That balance for that liability back to the state is $1.8 million at year end. I'm going to hop forward again to page 44 and 45, note 8, contingencies and commitments. I want to make sure that I'm pointing out all the significant accounting estimates within your financial statements. So we started with the net pension liability. On page 45, there's the incurred but not yet reported claims liability. And for this, the city hires their TPA who determines their liability on that. Starting on page 47, note 11, post-employment benefits other than pensions, OPEB liability. As the city historically had offered retirees health insurance plan options under their plan, there was an actuarial liability determined with that. Of course, during fiscal year 25, there were changes within that OPEB plan that significantly changed this calculation for the actuary, but it is still a lingering liability out there. And so this is another actuarially determined liability like the net pension, except this time, since it's the city's plan, it's the city hiring the actuary who does that work and then providing that information to them. Because of those changes within the plan, significant decrease here. It was a $2.1 million liability last year, down to about $964,000 this year. I'm going to jump again really far this time. And we're going to leave the financial statements behind, or the notes to the financial statements behind, and point out on pages 56 to 58 is the budgetary comparison schedules. Mr. Mayor, you could have taken this to the high school with you. So this helps show the original budget amounts, the final, and then actual. So we're required to make sure that the city didn't overspend with any levels of budgetary authority, and no non-compliance noted there. I'm going to jump again, clear over to page 71. So really our audit is two parts. So the first part is over the financial statements, the notes to the financial statements. We covered those. The second part is that audit of federal dollars. And it's the second part that's really held up by the non-issuance of that final OMB compliance supplement. So as mentioned, they have that compliance supplement, and they really prescribe for us how to go about auditing somebody who expends more than $750,000 of federal funds, which obviously the city is well above in. On page 72, you will see total federal funds expended by the city in fiscal year 25 of just under $2.9 million. The prior year is about $1.4 million. The city falls into the category prescribed as a low-risk auditee, and that's just based on looking back at the last 2 years of reports. Were there any material weaknesses? There's a prescribed formula that we follow that outlines that. Because of their designation as a low-risk auditee, in the federal dollars world, we're required to audit at least 20% of their federal funds that they expend. If they fell into that high-risk auditee, if they had material findings in the prior years, we'd have to audit at least 40%. To meet our 20% requirement, we audited the program 21.027, a COVID program, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, just over $1 million there. So to round it out, there are two other independent auditors' reports. The first one on pages 74 to 75. This is an independent auditor's report under government auditing standards. This looks at compliance with laws and regulations and internal control. Happy to note no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control noted, and no non-compliance. And then on pages 76 to 78 is that third and final independent auditor's report. And this is on compliance with major federal programs as required by the uniform guidance. And so on this one, once again, we have audited based on the draft compliance supplement, which I suppose could change in the final, but we're highly doubting any changes will come out of that. But with that draft compliance supplement, we have noted compliance with all direct and material compliance requirements and no non-compliance or deficiencies noted. I'll leave the big bound document and I will go to the stapled one titled Report to the Honorable Mayor and Members of the City Council. My auditing standards require that I present this document to you all as those charged with governance as really a highlight of how the audit went to keep you informed. And so to quickly skim through that, starting on page 1, we discussed that there was one change in accounting policy this year, and that was to adopt GASB 101, compensated absences. On page 2, under significant unusual transactions, we talk about the building impairment and that $3 million in impairment expense being an unusual transaction for the city and how that was accounted for. We've talked about 3 significant accounting estimates within the city's financial statements. There were no audit adjustments identified by us. Any audit adjustments included in the attached representation letter were provided by management, subsequent to them providing us the trial balance to start audit. No disagreements with management, no significant issues or difficulties. Overall, outside of the federal government not giving us a compliance supplement, things went extremely well. And we'd like to, of course, give a big thanks to Matt, Alex, April, and all their staff for all their hard work to make sure that we have great information to audit and that we can get our job done well. Happy to answer any questions or recover anything. Or start at the beginning.
No.
No?
Before I turn it over to the council to see if they have questions or feedback, you are correct. We have an amazing team of people who do wonderful work, and the amount of effort they put into making sure that you have everything you need and that we're compliant is very laudable. But also thank you all for coming up here and being such a great group of people to work with.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it
We
is.
really appreciate the relationship that we have.
Very good. Council, do you have questions or comments?
I'll give April a shout out.
No, it is. It certainly makes it much easier for us to do our jobs up here and to sleep well at night. So thank you very much. We appreciate you being here in person to go over
Absolutely.
this with us.
Thank you all for having me.
Absolutely. Very good. Okay, next up, we have the Rock Springs Miners Junior Hockey Team are here to do a presentation. Council and department heads and Mary, I forwarded a presentation that Sarah Wurst sent to me prior to the meeting to all of you, so if you'd like to follow along with that, and then we'll hear what these folks have to tell us.
Thanks. Hi, I am Sarah Wurst, the owner of the Rock Springs Miners Junior A hockey team, and I have 3 players here with us today. You guys can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm AJ Scarfoni from Arvada, Colorado. I'm a defenseman on our team this year.
My name is Andre Romero, and I'm from Windsor, Colorado, and I'm also a defenseman.
My name is Boston Cornick. I'm from Florence, Kentucky, and I'm a forward.
And we have 23 more of those back at the rink. Not right now anyway, but so this is the 3rd year of having a junior hockey team here. I took over ownership last year. I am local. I worked for the team for the first 2 years, and when the old owners were looking to sell, we decided that it was a good idea to buy it. So I've lived here for 4.5 years now, and I think being here for a little bit of time, in the winter, there really is not a ton to do for our youth. And these are fun, family-friendly games. We play all of our games on Fridays and Saturdays. Season goes from September through March. And yeah, we play everything at the rec center. And it's just a fun environment for families. I did not grow up a hockey fan. I have quickly converted after working for the team for the first year. It's so fast-paced, energetic. It's just easy to get behind. So it provides something to do when there may not be a lot of other opportunities here for families, kids, just everybody in general. So we play 50, I said our season starts in September, it ends in March. We play 54 games, 27 home, 27 on the road. We play teams we've got another Wyoming team up in Casper, 1 in Idaho Falls, 2 in Utah, and 2 in Colorado. Next year, we're adding an 8th team up in Billings, Montana. So these are all kids that come from across the country, world to play here. We, as you heard, we've got some Colorado and Kentucky here. We have a Russian kid on our team, some Slovakians, just all across the world. They're 17 to 20-year-olds. They come and play hockey to hope to develop and further their career. I think it's everybody's goal to play in college here. all of these kids, we've got 26 on our team right now. All of them live with billet families in our community. So they're just families that open up their homes to these kids. And a lot of them do have kids themselves that play hockey, but not everyone does. And yeah, they stay with us September through March every day. And it's kind of an extension of your own family. So we're really lucky to have those billet families in our community. We have a very strong billet program, which we're so thankful for, because without them, can't do this. And while they're here, they really ingrain themselves in this community. I think this year we've done a great job volunteering and just being out and about. They came in August 27th, 28th, and we have done 30 hours of community service for each kid so far. So that's a lot when you think about they already have a full-time schedule with hockey and workout and games and traveling and everything. So I hope to get to around 75 hours per kid. AJ can kind of talk about some of the things we've already done this year in our community.
Yeah, so it's been great going out and reaching the community, and things we've done so far already this year are the Sweetwater County Fair booth, school volunteering at many of the schools here in Rock Springs, and the food bank of Sweetwater County, as well as the animal shelter. And then we also had some items auctioned off in the Cowboys Against Cancer, as well as helping them set up for that. And then we have some community events that are also outside of hockey games, where we can kind of get to know the community a little more. We have a golf tournament, a pickleball tournament, and a cornhole tournament. So, yeah.
Yeah, jumping back to the community service aspect, I think so far this year we have been in 6 of the schools, 1 in Green River, 5 over here, volunteering for various events. Last week, they went over to Monroe Elementary in Green River and did a Thanksgiving lunch in with the kids. So they invite all of their parents or whomever can join them for lunch. But of course, not everybody can have a parent get out of lunch or get out of work to come. So our boys went over there. They sat with kids. We had a lovely email from the school afterwards saying how great they were. They played soccer. You know, it's fun for these kids too. We've been in Sage and Stagecoach, Pilot Butte, the junior high, just all over. And we're really trying to ingrain ourselves in this community. You know, they're spending 7 months of their year here. That's a big chunk of time. And this community gives so much to us that we really need to give back to them. And so all of the various community service events, we are trying to do that through. I already kind of talked about the game aspect of things. We do have concessions at games. We have a food truck out front every game, which is, again, kind of local economy. We have a beer garden. They're just fun events for the whole family. Our financial impact on the city or the community is about $600,000 a year. So through billet fees, they pay $600 a month to go towards their family that they're living with. So that, of course, is spent, hours, groceries, right? They're 20-year-old boys. So a lot of that goes to groceries. We have a camp in late August that brings in revenue. You have other teams traveling through here that stay the night. Not everyone does, but some teams do. All of them are getting food from this in town, pregame, postgame, just a lot of financials going back into the city. Obviously, we have our ice arena bill as well. So being here is a big investment. It's an investment on our part, but it's also an investment in the community and giving, trying to make a mark there. We also have employees that we pay to, which live here and spend their money here, you hope, and bus rental and all of that. But yeah, that's kind of us in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions about who we are, what we do, anything else?
Before I turn it over to the council, I do just want to acknowledge way back when we started with the prospectors, the hope was that the players and the team would be really invested in our community. And you've really made that happen. So it's a wonderful opportunity for people to have something on a Friday or Saturday night, but you are, that is absolutely apt word, ingraining yourselves, and it is very appreciated.
Thank you.
Council?
Your Honor, I just got one quick question. When's your next home game?
Next home game is next Wednesday, so the day before Thanksgiving. After that, it's Saturday, the 29th. So 26th and 29th, we just finished 4 straight home games, 2 back-to-back weekends. So they're on the road this weekend, which...
Did you show up Pueblo?
Yeah, maybe not on the ice, but off the ice, yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, very good.
Yes, we have had the local Green River Band, high school band out for our last 3 out of the last 4 games, and they're coming next week also. They're so much fun. It makes it very electric, and our crowds have been much larger lately, which is exciting, and people are really getting into it, so it's fun.
Very good. Councilor Bingham?
Just want to ditto the mayor's comments and just appreciate the community engagement aspect of this, and just warms my heart when the youth are participating in this, whether it's high school or hockey players and such. Just really appreciate it. Just wanted to.
Thank you. We like doing it.
Yeah,
it's good.
it's
It's
cool.
fun for all of us.
I am always sad that you have so many games on Saturdays. There was a Saturday that they didn't, and they came to the mobile food pantry, and it was wonderful. They were genuinely happy to be there. Like, it's very clear that she's not beating you guys and being like, go do it and pretend to smile. Like, they were having fun and participating and talking to the people who were there and really a part of. And so anywhere I've seen them with the trunk or treat at Pilot Butte and Sage, I mean, interacting with the kids and the parents, like they are. And I don't know if you just got like a great crop of boys or if this is what you've created or a combination, but when they're out in the community, it is, I mean, my kids get voluntold a lot, and it's clear when they're happy to be there and when I'm forcing them, they're happy to be there, and it matters.
Thank you. I think their lives are so serious so much of the time. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but they are here for a job, basically. That's what this is. Mm-hmm. So when they get to be kids, I mean, they are still kids. It's fun for them, and they enjoy interacting with other people outside of our just immediate hockey world. So we enjoy it. We always look forward to the next volunteer activity.
Very good. Well, thank you, and thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay. Next up, November is Men's Health Month, and we have a proclamation for that. Men's Health Month is part of an ongoing international effort to educate men, boys, and their families about receiving regular disease prevention screenings and living healthier lifestyles. Nationwide, life expectancy for men averages 5 years fewer than that of women, with men experiencing higher rates of health problems such as diabetes, obesity, cancer, heart disease, and premature mortality. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating impact on men's health in the United States, dropping men's life expectancy by 2 years. Men's Health Month is time for the public to recognize the mental and physical health needs of men and boys while encouraging fathers to be role models for their children through preventative health screenings, healthy living, and seeking needed help. The growing epidemic of suicide and substance abuse requires special effort to raise awareness of unrecognized and undiagnosed depression and mental stress in boys and men. The centerpiece of Men's Health Month is National Men's Health Week, a special awareness period passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton on May 21st, 1994. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Max Mickelson, Mayor of the City of Rock Springs, do hereby declare the month of November 2025 to be Men's Health Month in the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and encourage all of our citizens to pursue preventative health practices and early detection efforts throughout the year. Okay. That takes us to our public hearing. We have a public hearing regarding a revision to the flat rate schedule for the Rock Springs Housing Authority, which we will vote on in resolution number 2025-139. Would anybody like to address the council and I on this topic? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. We did not have anyone who signed up for petitions and public comment, which brings us to bills and claims. First up, we have the Rock Springs Housing Authority bills and claims for November 18th, 2025. Council, do I have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve Rock Springs Housing Authority bills and claims for November 18th, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Bingham. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining.
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 Okay. Motion carries with Councilors Thompson and Pedri abstaining. Next up, we have the bills and claims for November 18th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve the bills and claims for November 18th, 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there discussion?
Your Honor. Can
Council?
I missed the boat on it, but can I pull a bill off of there, or do I just amend it, or how does that work now?
Oh, just abstain.
Okay.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Bingham abstaining. Which takes us to the salaries for November 7th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus.
I make a motion to approve the salaries for November 7th, 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Zadi. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Thompson abstaining. Which brings us to new business. First up, we have a request from the Finance Department for approval of the City of Rock Springs 2025 Audit Final Draft Report from McGee, Hearn, and Pies, LLC. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hanson?
I'd like to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, which brings us to a request from the Mayor's Office for approval of Christmas bonuses. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I'm on your left side, so.
Councilor Thompson with the second. Is there discussion?
Your Honor.
Councilor Hickerson.
Curious to know how much this will cost the city overall.
Your Honor, Councilor Hickerson, based on numbers from beginning of November, employee counts, it would cost approximately $64,500. That's for 217 full-time employees and 82 part-time employees.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, the motion carries unanimously, which brings us to discussing the two purchase offers for the purchase of real property located at 502 South Main Street, known as the First Security Bank Building. Under the direction of our legal department, the way we will handle this is to start with the offer that is brought forward by Cody Watt at the recommendation of the building committee. And so I would look for a motion to approve that contract.
Your Honor.
Councilor Hickerson.
Are we just discussing the contracts, or are we?
Yeah, I'm
approving
sorry.
them?
We'll need a motion and then we'll discuss it.
Okay, Your Honor, I move to discuss the Cody Watt contract.
Okay. Okay.
Second.
Okay. Very good. Okay. All those in favor of discussing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to it? Abstaining. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. So let's talk about it, I guess.
Your Honor,
Councilor Hickerson.
I don't know if this is okay with the legal team, but would it be better if we voted to discuss them both so we could like do some comparisons?
No, the advice from legal, since the recommendation was to move forward with the offer from Cody Watts, is to address that one first, and then if that offer is accepted, then the other one just dies by proxy, right? Since that was the consensus of the group with the additional information that Mr. Watts provided. Now, we can always go rogue and ignore our attorneys. If you would like to discuss the two offers and the sort of differences between them, please.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
I mean, the only person that might get in trouble is me, and I can handle that. So I can take back with. Maybe not Jordan, but
just get a running start.
Right.
Okay, well, dealing with this one specifically, Cody Watts was the realtor for the building prior to putting in an offer.
Mhm.
Are there concerns of and I know I read this stuff, but for the public's good, I guess. Are there concerns with a conflict of interest with him?
We did have
potentially trying to sell versus now buying.
We did have that question for Mr. Watts, and he was able to correctly and legally address those concerns in providing the city with his history of developing buildings of this nature, his portfolio, so his resources for completing it, and his enthusiasm for the project. It was the thought of the committee that that was the preferred offer. The other offer is much more speculative, and the gentleman making the offer does not have the experience or the resources that Mr. Watts and his business partners have. And so that's where the recommendation came from. But yeah, we did have multiple questions for him in addressing some of the potential concerns around being the selling agent and then making an offer. So for instance, he won't be taking a commission because he's no longer representing us, he's representing himself, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And so he was able to answer our questions and then provide that additional information. The other gentleman does not really have, or was not willing or able to provide any evidence of a history of developing properties like this. And he does not have the portfolio of resources that Mr. Watts and his partners have. Additionally, there's an advantage having been our selling agent. Mr. Watts is extremely familiar with the building, where it's at, parking restrictions, and the challenges that will exist with completing that building. And he has a business model for how he thinks he can finish it and make it profitable for him. Further discussion?
Your Honor, I guess that was and the questions have been answered. And I appreciate Councilor Hickerson for bringing it up, just for the benefit of the public, understanding the full picture of what's going on. And my one is I want to get that building sold and get that building developed is the most important thing. Public, I'm sure, is tired of seeing, the building in the state that it's in. And so, so I support the building committee's recommendation and in just being able to see this actually move forward and get developed. And I think there was a time frame in there too, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's the same as our last, that construction has to begin within 1 year and be completed within 4.
Okay.
So it is not really open to people who want to just purchase the property and hope at some point that we're the next Vegas and that piece of land is worth a lot. It is a commitment to develop the building, which would be good. It's a fascinating saga, the tale of this building and how we came to make the decisions that the city did. And I think it predates almost all of us.
Almost.
Yeah. But I mean, it is one of those based on the information at the time, the economy, the state of things, it made a lot of sense. And then COVID and everything got wackadoodle, and it really changed the nature of the original intent right, was no longer supported by the reality on the ground. And so this is a pivot to see if we can't move forward and get that building done, which is really the goal of everybody at this point. And hopefully this is something that we move forward with, and that Mr. Watts and his partners move forward with and are able to get it so that when we're downtown, we don't have to look at plywood windows anymore. They don't let in a lot of light, and it certainly is a incredibly stable and potentially game-changing space for our downtown. So, okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Is Cody's intent to develop the building into residential living, or what is his business model?
Am I allowed to share that?
You're the lawyer.
Yeah, well, I mean, so, I mean, he has shared with me his plan, and there's certainly no, like, NDA or anything.
Yeah,
So
I just read
it-
through the contract, and all I saw were the timeframes.
Yeah.
And
I think it's safe that everyone can feel very confident that like higher density family housing, retail restaurant space, and some other usage is intended for the property. It is,
so you're comfortable with his plan moving forward?
I mean, he's got more money than I do. So
15,000 more than the other guy.
yeah. And so, yes, like given how long that building has sat and the sort of paucity of interest that has come forward, I think if we have somebody who is excited, who loves to take these old buildings and turn them into something new for communities and has a history of successfully doing that, we would be looking a gift horse in the mouth to not accept that. And then hopefully he moves forward and we don't have any more issues like we did the last time around. And we can get that building, let's see, if it takes 4 years, by the Christmas of 2029, we can all go down there and be like, boy, that sure looks nice. Now, if we decide to move forward with this offer, then we will go through the advertising and the things that we have to do statutorily, and then we'll take action on formally accepting the contract.
Your Honor, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Just knowing the history of the building and the amount, we have had several buyers over the several years who have purchased it and realized how much it's going to cost and back out. We thought we had a good deal last time with a group that knew what they were doing, and it just didn't work out for them. So that's why Cody, I guess he was there, he understands that, he knows what those issues are. So in my mind, if he's putting this together, he has his plan in place, he's fairly confident on what he's going to be able to do, which is something that a lot of people in the past haven't had that knowledge until they get into there and start realizing it's a big project. And so those reasons and the fact that we do have the time limits and time frame set, I do support the offer as well.
Okay. Very good. So then we will, I think, move forward with the advertising.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I'm a little misunderstanding here is we're talking about real estate. Why aren't we in an executive session? When does that happen?
Because we're not discussing purchasing real estate, and so it's public knowledge that that building is for sale by the city, and it falls outside of the qualifications for an executive session under the Public Meetings Act. That's intended so that if the city is looking to buy some land, that we prevent speculation and driving up the price. But in selling property, there's no provision.
Okay. So you said you've already talked to this gentleman. Do you have any presentation or any information from those meetings so we can have a little better understanding of what he's really doing down there?
As I said earlier, he has presented that information in response to questions from the building committee, which is where this is coming from. And then we have to go through the statutory process. So certainly, if that's something you would like provided to the entire council, I can have that conversation with Mr. Watson, and he can discuss that with his partners.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Okay. I would, just for the sake of clarity, I would like a motion to proceed with the advertisement and statutory requirements so that we can dispose of this property.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilor Zadi.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demas. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay. Staff is then directed to pitter patter, let's get at her. Which brings us to a request from the Engineering Operations and Public Services Department for permission to fill a vacant water distribution system operator 1-2 position. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Petrie?
move to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Y'all don't have to stay for the whole thing. I mean, you've got busy days and like lifting and stuff, skating to do.
They want to see number 5.
Yeah, are you waiting for 5? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, very good. I mean, you're welcome to stay, but I know this is not the most riveting part of our evening. Request for 10 malt beverage permits from Ben Johnson for the Rock Springs Miners hockey games on November 26th and 29th, December's 12th and 13th of 2025, and January 2nd and 3rd, 9th and 10th, 16th and 23rd of 2026, from 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. at the Rock Springs Family Recreation Center, Ice Arena. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Bingham. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, which brings us to our resolutions. First up, we have Resolution 2025-139.
A resolution authorizing Max Mickelson, Mayor, acting in his capacity as chairman of the Rock Springs Housing Board, to approve a revision to the authority's flat rent schedule for units in its HUD-assisted public housing program.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hickerson.
move to approve resolution 2025-139.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hanson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilors Petrie and Thompson abstaining, taking us to Resolution 2025-140.
A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs accepting and approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, the Sweetwater County Joint Travel and Tourism Board for refurbishment of the Dewar Drive Gateway sign, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said memorandum of understanding on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Petrie.
I'd like to move to approve Resolution 2025-140.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to Resolution 2025-141.
A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, accepting and approving an agreement to abate and mitigate mine subsidence for the removal of property improvements and fixtures at 506 A Street, Rock Springs, Wyoming, between the Wyoming Department of Environmental Quality Abandoned Mine Land Division, the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Bonnie J. Gatto, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs to execute said agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-141.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Zadi. Discussion.
Your Honor,
Councilor Malonis.
I was just, so what happened to that property that we had some subsidence, we didn't check it? Was that some of that compacting that we did that ruined that property? 'Cause I didn't see any subsidence around there.
According to AML, the basement has a huge sinkhole in it, and we have spent the last 3 years trying to work through all of the legal issues in order to allow them to remove the house so that they can fill that void and prevent it from continuing to collapse and damaging the surrounding properties. And it has been quite an effort to work through all of the different legal requirements with the heirs who have inherited the property. I believe one of them lives in Hawaii, if my memory serves. And then to get the state agency and the city in alignment on who will pay for the cost of the demolition, because there's restrictions on how AML can do that. And then finally, once the work is done, the land will continue to be the property of the homeowner. They will have just addressed the void and will prevent damage to the neighboring properties.
So was all the other properties around there already mitigated? Do we do grouting?
Your Honor, I really can't speak to that. That would be a question for AML.
And I can't recall. Every time we've met with AML, they have brought their mitigation maps. They're in the process of digitizing them so that anybody can go and look, but that is a fairly substantial effort on their part. They have done mine mitigation in huge swaths of town, and as they're currently doing, or we're doing in Bunning Park, to address those voids. But whether or not that specific neighborhood has been done, I'd have to ask AML.
I guess I was just, is that the only void in that little neighborhood?
I'd have to ask AML. That is certainly, I mean, this discussion around 506 A Street, I think what I was sworn in January 2nd and about January 15th, AML was here. How can we get this void addressed? And we have been working on it since then. And so I'm actually thrilled that we've reached a point where we can move forward and get it addressed, because the last thing you want is for that void to continue to grow and damage the neighboring properties.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Your Honor, just
Councilor
one thing,
Sunny.
it's, I guess, kind of maddening in this when we do have a void like that. You want to prevent further damage. It takes 3.5 years to get to it. I mean, it's just, that's kind of frustrating, but I mean, that's government at work for you, I guess.
Well, it would have been a lot easier. Like, the simplest solution was for us to purchase the property from the homeowner, pay the demolition, and then let AML go in and do the work. That's just not a very fiscally responsible solution. So given significantly more money, I bet we could have had it done before I was sworn in. But yeah, when you're having to work through who's going to make sure that their auditor is happy with their choices, that is the sort of the crux that we were stuck on, is how can we work that out in a way that satisfies all of the federal, state, and local requirements. And you're right, that is a Gordian knot. Yeah. I offered to cut it, but they said no. Yeah, it was terrible. Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to resolution 2025-142.
A resolution accepting and approving a lease agreement with Sweetwater RC Racers, a nonprofit organization, to lease from the city of Rock Springs the northeast ball field, or field number 4 of the Vase Memorial Ballpark, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the city of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the city of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said lease agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor, I'd move to approve Resolution 2025-142.
Thank you, Councilor Zadi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? The motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our final resolution of this evening, 2025-143.
A a resolution accepting and approving a contract between the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming and Vogel Traffic Services, Inc., doing business as Easy Liner for the purchase in the amount of $399,760 for an Easy Liner model TSALC 0230 paint truck for the City of Rock Springs Street Department, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor.
Whoa, Councilor Bingham.
That was like a tie. Go for it.
No,
Is there a second? Councilor Bingham got the motion.
Okay.
second.
Thank you, Councilor Demas. Is there any discussion? Okay, before I call for the vote, we'll say that this was one of the examples that I used for both the CTE class and the government class. And the CTE kids did better at guessing how much a paint truck costs, and they did better at guessing how much a fire truck costs. One kid in the government class he could see the ballpark, right? He wasn't in it, but he could see it. And the looks on their faces when, like that big Tiger fire engine, if we had to replace that today, it'd be about 2.4 million. And we would hand them 2.4 million and they'd bring us a truck in about 2027, 2028. And it's very illuminating, I think, not just for those students, but for like the citizens of Rock Springs to understand like this equipment is specialized and does come at a cost. The gentleman in the government class guessed $300,000 for the paint truck. And I don't know if you guys know Levi Berry, but it was his son Owen, and I was like, I feel like your dad prepped you for this because that was too close. But in any event, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? The motion carries unanimously, taking us to our only ordinance of this evening. It's on its second reading, so we will not look to take action, but it is ordinance 2025-19.
An ordinance amending Title III entitled Administration, Chapter 31 entitled Council Meetings, and amending Section 31.02 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Rock Springs entitled Order of Business.
Thank you. Council, is there discussion? If you all will recall, this is just cleaning up our ordinance so that our conduct and our law are in sync. And giving us a little bit more flexibility in how we structure these. The way the current ordinance is written, we do this and then this and then this. So even times where someone has been here and had some sort of scheduling conflict and we've rearranged the agenda to let them speak early, now that's against ordinance. So we're fixing that so that we can certainly model to the public that we follow our own laws. So with that,